I knew it was bad for me, but I felt powerless to leave. You know, he was emotionally abused. There was a lot going on. I might not be able to go into all the details because of our time, you know, but I remember knowing that I was on the path of destruction. You see, there are people who are on the path of destruction and they are not aware. That is one thing. I was on the path of destruction. I was very well aware. I understood what red flags were, but I felt powerless. I felt like I had lost my agency, sense of power to determine what I wanted from life, even though I knew what was right and I knew what was wrong.
Fast forward a year and a half later, my adopted father began to molest me for 7 years. Night in, night out, he would come for my body and I became a sexual object. And just like Tonya, he told me, if you tell anyone, I will send you back to the village and you will die after 7 days.
Hi guys, welcome to Sunday series with Lara. And today on Sunday series we're going to be talking about emotional pain. You know, how deep it is in all our lives. You remember, if you have watched me in previous episodes where I talked about, you know, the soul, emotional sickness in our soul, you know, how a lot of us ignore our soul. And today I want to focus on that, because a lot of us as a Christian, you're in church, you're praying, you're, you know, under God's covering, pastors and all of that, yet your life seems to be going out like this. You are depressed, you have anxiety, you have pain, you know, a lot of things are not going right, and you keep crying to God, but it looks as if all the things I'm hearing, or all the things the pastors are saying, or all the things I'm reading in the Bible, you know, how God loves me, how God is going to bless me, how my life is supposed to turn out right, and all of that, these things are not happening. And you're beginning to wonder, you know, is there a God? Or does he really love me? Like someone told me recently, Coach Lara, I believe that God has favorites. Why would she say that? Because she has checked her own life and she's beginning to think, oh, I'm sure God prefers some people to somebody like me. And I want to tell you today, that is not true. That is absolutely not true. God loves all of us. God sent his son to die for us. Jesus died and gave his life for all and sundry. All and sundry. Some people are not special. You know, nobody is special, you know, than you in the presence of God. God loves all of us equally, all of us, I promise you. You know, so today I want to talk about two women separately or together that I met, you know, a while ago. So the first person is Tosin Yemi-Sanni. Some of you, you know, you must have heard about her. She had a YouTube video that went viral some months ago, and she talked about how she was a pastor's kid, a church girl, and but she was in pain. She wanted to get married, but in dating she fell into a relationship, you know, that was abusive with a guy, and he got her hooked to marijuana, drugs, abortions, and all of those things, you know. But thankfully God have saved her, you know. And today Tosin is a preacher of the word. She's a soul doctor. She's a, you know, coach that is helping people heal emotionally, finding their identity and the likes of it. So today you're going to be watching Tosin's story, you know, a little bit of that. And then on the other hand, there's another woman of God that, you know, our paths crossed a little while ago when she sent me a DM on Instagram, you know, and then recently I invited her to come and speak at my event. Her name is Barrister Toyin Falaiye. Toyin, you know, has gone through immense pain. I kid you not. She was abused for several years by her adopted father. You know, there's a lot going on, you know. When I heard this story again recently, I'm like, man, this woman has been through a lot, but look at her. So this is my admonition for you, that there's nothing you cannot come back from. So I want you to follow me, join me on this journey as we watch Tosin and Tosin, Yemi-Sanni, and Toyin Falaiye share their story of pain and how they've been able to overcome it and come out of it. Join me.
By the way, you look amazing. You're so pretty. Aww. I'm even blushing on your behalf. All right, Oluwatosi, you've mentioned that you met your husband just a few weeks after you had given up on everything and just decided to leave everything in God's hands. Now tell us how this happened, why this happened. Just give us a little bit of a backstory.
All right, hello everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So I love energy. I don't do well in low energy environments, so I need to hear your energy. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're excited to be here today. All right, congratulations, Lady Lara, Coach Lara. It's so wonderful to be here. We're so delighted for what God is doing through you in our generation, in this season, in our nation, on our continent, and even globally. And we just really celebrate you today. And I want to say thank you for the opportunity that you've given us just to share our own journeys. So to the question, I wouldn't even say that I had given up. Well, I get what you're saying, but you know, to put it within context, it was more like I had surrendered. You know, I had surrendered to God. I had surrendered to the process. I had surrendered to the journey. I had stopped trying to figure things out on my own because I realized that, like the woman at the well, I continued to drink of this well whose waters could not satisfy. And so every time I took a sip, I came up even more thirsty. And I needed something that could forever quench my thirst. I needed something that could anchor me securely in my identity. You see, for a long time, I continued to hit brick walls when it came to relationships. For one reason or the other, I would experience, in my case, most times, I was the one who was often forced to serve breakfast. But you must know that it's not necessarily easier, you know, even when you are the server, because many things can push you to that point, you know, just that feeling of dissatisfaction or just things, losing yourself. For me, was I had lost myself so much, you know, in all of these relationships. I had been in crazy relationships. I had been in a toxic relationship. I'd been engaged to someone who, my friend always says that that guy was sent from the pit of hell to destroy my destiny. You know, people would ask me, where is he today? I'm like, I don't even know. Which makes me further worried that, was he a spirit? Was he a real human being after all? You know? Because people were like, listen, that guy, well, and if you've seen my interview, you may have a sense of what I'm talking about. That he was just sent to destroy your life. And so I just went on, and even after I left this relationship that almost claimed my life, that almost claimed my, you know, when I remember him proposing to me it was my birthday, I remember, and I remember we had just gotten into a fight. It was one of those crazy fights. I was crying. I was just feeling frustrated. I was like, God, why am I here? You know, how can I still be in this relationship? I knew it was bad for me, but I felt powerless to leave. You know, he was emotionally abused. There was a lot going on. I might not be able to go into all the details because of our time. You know, but I remember knowing that I was on the path of destruction. You see, there are people who are on the path of destruction and they are not aware. That is one thing. I was on the path of destruction. I was very well aware. I understood what red flags were, but I felt powerless. I felt like I had lost my agency, sense of power to determine what I wanted from life, even though I knew what was right and I knew what was wrong. So here was I falling into a pit, knowing that I was about to fall into a pit by marrying this man, but feeling powerless to say no to that proposal. And so I remember taking that ring and just bawling my eyes out. I was crying, yet I took a picture. It was BBM back then, and I still posted it. And everybody was congratulating me. Oh my God, how do you feel? Couple goals, I'm a fine girl. I know that. He was a fine guy, So all these people that be putting fire there for you say, cute babies alert, all of these cute babies loading, all that noise, we looked good together. And so I put up that ring. It was like people had been waiting. When is this guy going to propose? So I already felt some level of external pressure, which, by the way, was my business. Because if you're feeling pressured by things that are happening outside you, it's really your business, to be honest. So it was my business. So when I put up that picture, so many comments, so many congratulations. You could see tears in my eyes from the pictures that I put up, and people were like, "Oh my God, that's so cute!" Tears of joy. But listen, there were tears of sadness. There were tears of, this is impending doom. I'm about to enter into shackles that I will never be able to come out of. But I couldn't leave, And then I just remember to your, tying it up nicely. I remember just taking a shower one morning, and I was just crying. That was the first time in a long time that I had the courage to go back to God. Because when we are in difficult situations, when we're in sin, when we're steeped in iniquity, religion has sold us the lie that we need to go out and fix ourselves first before we come to God. However, the secret to your overcoming sin, the secret to your breaking free from the shackles of death and iniquity is right in the presence of God. Yeah. So you don't run, you don't hide. But I had been hiding for so long. And then I realized that you will just die a miserable death if you marry this guy, because it's either he eventually kills you, or you lose your mind, or something terrible happens. So I was just taking my bath that morning, and I was just crying out to God. I was just crying. I was like, God, I wasn't even asking him for anything. I was like, God, so this is how you will watch me ruin my life. Do you see? So I knew that I was about to, but I could not help myself. I was like, I'm about to marry this guy. I hope you're aware. Are you going to watch me leave? That was the first time I was really crying out to God for help. I was a very secretive person, and I knew how to wear masks. So not a lot of people knew what was going on with me. I could appear in church, sit in front, raise my hands in worship, kneel down, cry, go through all the motions, and then right after I was living a double-sided life. So you could not tell, And so I remember just crying out to God, and I feel like God must have called a whole conference call in heaven that, hey, there's a cry for help down there. You guys have to help my daughter. And then after a series of events, I was able to come out of that relationship. We don't have the time to go into it. So you have to watch this story on YouTube, right? But miraculously, I was yanked out of that relationship. It was not without a fight, because when there is a call upon your life, and when destiny is at stake, when the stakes are high in your life, you must know that the enemy will not let you go without a fight. So even after breaking up the first time, I went back again. It took something. It took people even interceding for me at this point, because I hadn't even understood what this journey of healing was about. I didn't know a lot about healing, But even after I left that very, very terrible relationship, I still, experienced a couple of other failed relationships. And I think that because it was hard for me to be by myself as a single lady, I always had to have some other guy in the picture in order for me to leave one, So I was consistently perpetuating that cycle of brokenness. And of course, because I wasn't healed, and God loves his children. Some of the men that I met were also God's children, godly men. And God was like, you will not go and ruin my son's life. And then everything will scatter, And I remember one day driving to work and arriving to work very early in the morning. And I just sat in my car. I was already in another situationship. And I just had that, it was like something was welling in my soul. It was a deep sense of sadness. Now I know that it was the sadness in my Heavenly Father's heart that I was getting a glimpse of, that I was feeling. And he felt such brokenness for my own brokenness. And I was just weeping that day in my car. I was just weeping uncontrollably. And then I heard the voice of God say, how many more men will it take for you to realize that I'm all that you need? How long will you drink from this well? And And I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. And he was telling me that even though you've known me for so long, you've preached about me, you've spoken about me, people know you as someone who knows me and loves me. You've never come to me for the healing of your soul. And you've consistently sought that validation in the wrong places. And so I just started to weep before God, and I was like, you know what, God, I get you. I'm going to end this situationship. I will leave this relationship even though there is nobody in sight, and all of that. I will let you heal me. I will let you love me. I'll let you rewrite my story, and all of that. That was the first time in a long time that I was able to go ahead and break a relationship with someone or a situationship with someone without having someone else in the picture. And so for a long time, I was in that season of isolation where I was letting God heal me, school me, make me whole. And I remember then just writing in my journal one day and saying, God, if it's going to take forever, if it's going to take 10 years, 13 years for you to make your presentation to me in terms of the man that I would marry, I'll wait. I let it go. I surrendered. And I truly did become satisfied in my season. The day that I wrote that thing, of course, God had been taking me on a journey over a couple of months, but I remember the day I wrote that prayer in my journal, it was maybe about 23 days later or so that I met the man that I'm now married to. Wow. I was truly surrendered.
When you let go, you let God. A lot of times we try to do all of these things with our own powers, and God humbles us until we come back, and then things begin to move. So thank you very much, Tosin.
At the Lara Kudaisi Healing Initiative, we are dedicated to standing alongside women who have faced some of life's hardest challenges. These are women who have endured deep emotional pain and trauma like rape, abuse, abandonment, neglect, domestic violence, and so on, but lack the financial means to access healing and rehabilitation resources. Through our work, we provide support to help these women rebuild their lives, find inner peace, and help them move from a place of brokenness and helplessness to a place of power. But to make this vision a reality for more women, we need partners like you who share our mission. We invite you to join us on this journey of healing and rehabilitation for these women. By partnering with us, whether through a monthly commitment or a one-time contribution in naira or dollars, you are not just giving money, you are giving hope, dignity, and a second chance. Imagine the difference you can make by enabling someone to release the burden of trauma, to feel understood, supported, and empowered. When you partner with Lara Kudaisi Healing Initiative, you are actively participating in a life-changing process. You are part of a community committed to healing and restoring lives. Join us in bringing hope, healing, rehabilitation, and resilience to women who need it most. Please call +234 915 743 1672 or go to www.larakudaisiinternational.com to be a partner today. Lara Kudaisi Healing Initiative, healing the past, empowering the future.
So for Toyin, you've mentioned in the past that you used to view sexual abuse as a price you had to pay or something you had to endure in order for you to get an education. Can you share with us what led you to having this sort of mindset?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Just very quickly, please.
Can I use that mic, please?
Okay, all right.
I'd prefer that.
You have about 7 minutes, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Coach Lara, I love you so much. And I'm the last, so I'm going to be the victim of 7 minutes. And it happens to me a lot in meetings. And so before I came here, I'd asked the Holy Spirit to help me summarize my story that is in a 246-page book named Diamond in the Rough. So I'm going to, so permit me to peer into my note because I like to keep to time. First of all, I just wanted to say that you would see me crazy and energetic and all over your face because I'm a walking, talking, living miracle. In 2017, I died for 4 hours with a ruptured ectopic pregnancy. That's not my story. But I just want to tell you why you would see me. I'm a shameless Jesus girl because I'm the one who has a second chance at life. But that's not my story. First of all, there is purpose in your pain. Yeah. Find it. There is power in your pain. Use it. In case I don't say anything else, you can go home with that. I survived abuse. I was raped at 10 when I had just come from the village to live with my auntie and her husband. A neighbor raped me. When I didn't know what the word sexual abuse meant, I thought a boy injured me. Fast forward 1.5 years later, my adopted father began to molest me for 7 years. Night in, night out, it would come for my body and I became a sexual object. And just like Toyin, he told me, if you tell anyone, I will send you back to the village and you will die after 7 days. That was all I needed to hear. And I became silent. I survived verbal abuse. The same man who would sleep with me over and over again would tell me I would never amount to anything in life. I survived emotional abuse. I was being called names. I was called a witch. I was called possessed. I survived psychological abuse. I survived physical abuse. I was beaten at the slightest provocation. And so I say proudly that I'm a graduate of the School of Abuses. And so by the time I turned 15, I had attempted my first suicide. At 18, I had attempted the second one. And in 2018, I attempted suicide twice. That's just 6 years ago. In February, I took sniper. I didn't die. In July, I ran into a moving vehicle. I survived trauma, depression. I just told you I attempted suicide 4 times. I've survived 4 miscarriages. I've survived anxiety. Everything they're talking about, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, name it. And so I got to a point in my life where I just thought that I was done. That nothing can come out of my life. That my abuser that told me I would never amount to anything was right after all. And so I got to a point in my life, just like Tonya, where I had pains all over my body, my back, everywhere. And so when you go through that quantum of physical pain, the doctors can recommend drugs and medications for you. When you go through mind, emotional pain, Coach Lara, and by the grace of God, I'm also a coach and a therapist. We can speak to your mind. We can talk to you about healing. But you see, in my own case, the pain was so much that a therapist could not heal me. To burst your bubble, I'm trying to, like I said, I want to keep the time, so I can't tell you details. But after the abuse stopped at age 17, I would see my abuser for the next 18 years in my dream, trying to either have sex with me, push me down a cliff, or kill me with a knife. That went on for 18 years. What therapist would heal you of nightmare? So I got to a point in my life where I said, you know what, God, I just want to die. Can I just die? There's nothing to this life after all. And in 2018, I heard that word clearly. There's purpose in your pain. Find it. And I still told the voice, I don't want to find any purpose. I just want to die. It's the audacity for you to give me an assignment to go and be looking for the purpose. But that started the healing journey. And that's how I actually discovered Coach Lara. Because God also told me, start sharing your story. And I'm like, how? Where do I start? How do I start? I don't understand. And so fast forward to 2020, after I had attempted suicide. It's crazy, right? That in 2017, I died with a baby inside of me, and by the mercies of God, I was brought back to life. And then in 2018, I had the audacity to attempt my own life. But that's the extent that trauma and pain can do to you. So fast track to 2020, because I want to just wrap it up. I got to a point, I went back to God, and that's what you see. When you get to the end of your road, the same God you're running away from is the same God you will run back to. Toyin said our story is like the woman at the well. My story is like the woman with the issue of blood. I just had to run back and say, God, if I can just touch the hem of your garment. Okay, it's okay if you don't want me to have children. It's okay, but can I just have you? By the way, I was raped at 10 a few months after I had given my life to Christ. So don't think that I was a bad girl all along. And I remember at 21, I was rededicating my life to God, and I said, God, can you be my father now? Because at that point, my real father had abandoned me, and then my adopted father had molested me. So I had no father figure in my life. So father wound, present. Mother wound, present. Abuse in relationships, present. Oh, you want to talk about the pain of loss? I've seen loss back to back. In 2016, shortly after I had a miscarriage, my foster mother died. 6 months later, my mother-in-law died. 6 months later, my father-in-law died. 6 months later was when I died with the ruptured ectopic pregnancy. So tell me about loss, and I will school you about it. But at the end of the day, I realized that everything that my life was going through flowed from that abuse of my childhood. I could not separate the fact that I would have a miscarriage after miscarriage if I had not been molested and abused by my foster father. By the way, they used to give us drugs then, all kinds of drugs. Maybe just so it would give my foster mother drugs so that she would sleep off and not know when he is raping me. And then he would give me drugs for whatever reasons. And so to quickly answer the question, when I said sexual abuse is the price I had to pay to get an education, like I said, I had a choice to either go back to the village or endure the abuse. So I chose the latter, because at that time I was an A student. I don't know how God did it, but I was a star student in primary school, Ed girl, secondary school, Ed girl. I was an A student until abuse and trauma messed me up and I began to degrade, and by the time I got to law school, I had a receipt. I didn't set out to become a lawyer. The day I decided to read law was the day I opened the JAM brochure, and I saw that if you read law, you would be able to fight for those who are helpless, oppressed, suppressed. That's how I wanted to be a TV girl, be in front of the screen, cast the news. We're doing that now anyway, by the grace of God. But abuse changed the entire trajectory of my life. And so fast forward to how I began to heal. It started in 2018. And in 2020, I just said, you know what, God, just take everything else and just give me you. And so the healing journey began. And this is why I love what she said before she gave me the mic. And I'm just going to quickly give you the 7 tips that you need to heal. First, tell yourself the truth. The truth, it was not your fault. That I was brought from the village to live in the city. Providence. That I was molested, it was not my fault. 2, forgive yourself. Most of the time we carry around the baggage of the guilt thinking that it was our fault. It was not your fault. So you need to forgive yourself. And you need to forgive the people that hurt you. 2 months ago, my foster father died. I mean the man that molested me for several years. And the Lord told me, you will go and bury him. Imagine going to bury a man that never looked you in the eye to say, I am sorry for the pain that I caused you. I never had closure from that pain, but I went to bury him. But I had walked the journey of forgiveness some years ago. Number 3, seek therapy. That's the truth. You will need it at some point. I'm a therapist, Coach Lara is a therapist. Some of the people here, you would need therapy. That's the truth. And seek God. All the answers to the questions are in him. Because you know why? Purpose. And that's why I do not stop with healing. I'm so passionate about healing, but I also believe in wholeness. The time you begin to get whole is that time when you take your power back from the pain. That is why now I can look at my life. I run an NGO where I provide a safe space for victims of sexual abuse. I run another organization where I coach, I mentor people to become their best version and to find clarity in their purpose. When you heal from pain, that is what the power that you have. And then you can now begin to walk in purpose, just like Coach Lara. And you can begin to have conferences like womb conferences, because you have healed and you have become whole and you are walking in that purpose in Jeremiah 1:5. When God said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. That was the original plan. The devil only came for your destiny when he knew that there is greatness inside of you. Why did you think they went to hide Jesus? So the devil sees your glory and comes with everything. And that's why I will just leave you with these 5 words. I call it the 5G. Who is on that network right now? You are not on 5G network net. Today, you will get there. G number 1, God. In everything. And that's why I love all the women in this room today. And what Coach Lara said, that she's walked that journey. But at some point, God said, there is more. There is more. See, you have to get to the point where you go back to God and say, God, what is it about my life? What is it? Why is the devil chasing me? What do I need to do? So you need God. Don't let anybody deceive you. I was raised in a Muslim home. I was banned from going to church. My abuser had it all planned out. We moved from a 3-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom house just so that I can sleep in the living room and he can have full access to my body. You need God. Number 2, you need grit. Grit, resilience, courage, boldness. Because God will tell you to share your story. And there will be people like Coach Lara said who will snide at you and say, what is it? Tonya shared with me recently. She said some people told her, stop sharing your story. Is it only you? Yes, it's only you. You are the only one with that unique story of your pain. So even if you've been molested like us, I believe that your story is different from my story. So tell it with boldness. Number 3, growth. And that's why I'm excited that you are in this room today. Because you need to go to conferences, attend meetings, see how people came out of their own merry clay by the help of God, and they are now walking in purpose. You need to attend, you need to take courses. You saw how Coach Lara said she invested and invested. You need to invest in your growth. And you need grace. And the beauty about grace is that you don't have to do anything about it. For God said, my grace is sufficient for you. So when he says take one step, you don't know that there is something there that you're going to fall. But because you know that the grace of God is with you, you're taking that step blindly, and God is just balancing your steps. And then you get to glory. Arise, shine, for your glory has come. Arise, shine, for your glory has come. So this is me, who survived 23 years. I bottled, just like Tony, I bottled up this pain for 23 years. I only came out public with my story in 2018 for the first time. And that was after I attempted suicide twice. 23 years bottled up pain, 18 years nightmare, 4 miscarriages, 4 suicidal attempts. But I'm here standing because of the glory of God that is upon my life and destiny, and upon the life and destiny of these people here, and upon the life and destiny of Coach Lara, and upon your own life and destiny. And so that's all. I paid the price. I don't want our children to pay the price. Some of us here paid the price for pain. Coach Lara paid the price for pain. All these people paid the price. You must not allow anyone else to go through what you went through. You will be doing a disservice to yourself and to God. DDK said, when you get to heaven, God wants to hear, well done, oh good and faithful servant. That's all. So I'm like, God, for giving me a second chance at life. First of all, that you even brought me from the dead. I don't want to tell you that story was an entire encounter. That one. Then the fact that you found me worthy to come out of this pain. Then nobody under my watch will go through what I went through. So it's a vow I made to God. And I want you to make that same vow. You've paid the price already. Your body was used as a sex pawn. My abuser will slap me if I suck his dick and he does not come. I go into the details of the dirty things that went on in my life. And they don't want to go into the details of what they had to go through. Imagine being married as a 33-year-old woman, and you wake up from sleep, and your husband is asking what happened. Why? Because you are seeing sperm on your body, and your husband never made love to you. Because your abuser came in your dream and made love to you. I deliver you from every oppression of the enemy. I deliver you from whatever abuse has planted in your body, and the devil is using it as a weapon to weaponize your destiny and your purpose. I say you come out of it now in the name of Jesus. We will no longer allow the devil to take advantage of us. I'm sorry, but I'm a prophet by the grace of God. And so I just told God, take control. It's not about telling stories, but it's about also coming to this room and you're walking out that door. Please, I beg you in the name of God, drop your pain on this altar at this conference. Remember today's day that you came for womb conference and you dropped the pain and you picked up healing. Because the truth is, look at us looking all glammed up and beautiful. Oh, you think that I am a poor girl. My father died. Half bag of cocoa and one axe. That was all he left. That's why I like what she said, I don't like poverty. She flew me in all the way from Abuja. You think that she would have been able to do that if she didn't have money. So we didn't come from buttered backgrounds. Don't think that we were born with silver spoon. We didn't even have spoon in my own family. So heal. I beg you in the name of God. Enough of you carrying that pain like a baggage, like you are the only one. No, you are not. We are plenty. And when you are done healing, become whole. And when you are done becoming whole, find purpose and walk in it. God bless you.
Welcome back from that story, that awesome story. Did you hear one thing that Tosin said? You know, she said when the stakes are high in your life, when you have the call of God on your life, when destiny is is top in your life, the enemy will not let you go without a fight. So that is the reason why today you have to fight for your destiny. You have to. You cannot just resign to fate. You cannot continue to go through the same thing and expect that there's going to be a change. With God, you have to align with God. You have to join with God and fight. Fight for your destiny. Fight for your life. That's how I fought. And to God be the glory. Look at where Tosin is today. Look at where I am today. And then, did you see what Toyin went through? Toyin Falaiye. Did you hear what that woman of God went through? Did you see the abuse? Did you see the after effects on her life? Nightmares, and all those things. She got married, yet she's troubled in that marriage because of that abuse. But look at her today, sharing her story, helping to heal other people. She's now a barrister, she's now a coach, she's now a therapist. She's making sure that the pain dies in her generation. Which is what I need you to do. I need you to make that vow that it ends with me. Nobody has to go through this again. Why? Because I'm going to heal. I am going to heal. I'm going to come back from this and I'm going to turn my life around. That is what the three of us have done. And I want you to do the same today. When you follow me on social media, when I talk on a normal day, I tell you that it is never too late to start over. I kid you not. It's the truth. There is nothing, and I mean it, absolutely nothing that you cannot come out from. So I need you to reach out to Jesus. I need you to go to him in total surrender and say, help me, Father, help me to heal, help me to break this pattern. And while you do that, seek therapy, seek people like us. Send us a DM, send us an email so that to sign up for therapy so that you can heal and become whole. I know that this broadcast must have touched you and it must have sparked something in your soul and your spirit. So if you have a testimony from it, if you have a question, if you have a comment, please do not hesitate to reach out to me on this email or that phone number, and I'll be there to answer your call. And till I see you next week Sunday, stay blessed. Bye for now.